Smile more.
Hey, this is the C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is also Chris, and this is MMA for You. We're going to be doing our predictions for UFC on FX 5, Browne versus Bigfoot, which is going to happen on October 5th, this Friday. What do you think about this card, man, and especially that main event?
I like the main event. You know, I'm a big fan of Bigfoot, and I don't know. Looking at the rest of the card, it looks like there's some good matchups, and hopefully we'll see some knockouts and some submissions.
Yeah, man. One thing that's cool about this card is you got guys like Dodson, Yama. So you got some flyweights on this card. Another thing that's interesting about this card is the stylistic matchups of just about more than half of this card. You got a lot of very similar fighters, so that makes it really hard for me to really be confident in my picks, because we have so many guys that are just very similar stylistically. But that also makes it fun, right, man?
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Stylistically, you're right. There are a lot of similar matchups in this one, and I still think that there could be a good fight.
Oh yeah. That's not to say they can't have good fights, but let's get started then. Okay, Travis Browne fights Antonio Bigfoot Silva in the main event. How about you start it off, my man?
All right, I got Antonio Bigfoot Silva.
Oh, really? Bigfoot Pizzao, huh?
That's right. I know he's coming off of a 2-fight losing streak.
That's the Cormier and Velasquez.
Yeah, I mean those are tough opponents, but he's definitely very well rounded. Great stand up, good wrestling. I mean, he's not as quick as most, but I see him taking the victory here, despite having those defensive holes in his stand up.
I got Travis Browne here. He's undefeated. He now trains at Greg Jackson's gym. One thing I like about him is I think he's 6'6" or 6'7". Bigfoot's like 6'3", 6'4", so he's not a small guy. With Browne, he really moves well for his size. He's definitely on his toes a lot of times. He has power. Remember that Superman punch he did to Seven Struve that turned him like an accordion. It's good wrestling. The card, okay. Here's the thing, though. With your guy Pizzao, he's better on the ground, and I'm kind of worried about the ground game here, because if Antonio Silva decides to grab some legs, take it to the mat, could be bad news for Browne. Bad news, Browne. Ha ha ha. But otherwise, I think Travis Browne will expose the holes. Travis Browne, I think he could expose some of the holes in stand-up. Bigfoot's got a big head, so it's kind of easy to hit sometimes. So I think he can definitely get the stand-up there. Hopefully he won't get taken down and win this fight, man.
Travis Browne is undefeated?
Yeah.
Wow. Who are some of the big names that he's taken out?
He hasn't taken... Stefan Struve is probably his best win. He fought Congo to draw. Who else? And that's pretty much like the biggest wins of his career so far.
I'd be willing to put lunch on it if you're down, but we can discuss that afterwards.
Oh, okay. I thought you stopped gambling on MMA, but
this is for food. So either way we win. Because either way, we eat.
Oh, okay. We'll see about that. Okay, and the co-main event. This was actually the co-main event of a card that was called UFC 151, as Jake the Juggernaut Ellenberger fights the thoroughbred Hieron. I got Ellenberger here, man. How about you?
I'm going to have to agree with you. Trains with Rain. Good wrestling.
Yeah.
His hands are very heavy.
Oh, yeah, man. He knocked out, Pearson, knocked out Martin Campman right away, even though he got knocked out later on. Yeah.
Top-notch boxing, good takedown defense. A little bit weak off his back, but, I think that's not going to be too much of a a weakness, and I think he's going to be able to pull this one out against Jay Hieron.
This is actually a rematch from an IFL fight.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Jay Hieron actually beat him before. One thing is, and it goes with the theme of this of this card, is that similar stylistic matchups. Jay Hieron, he's a good wrestler himself. Trains a good team at Extreme Couture and has some pretty solid technical boxing. Of course, I got Ellenberger to win this one as well. I feel that his stand-up, I think he'll have the heavier hands and he has strong wrestling. I worry about Ellenberger's cardio. Hieron went 5 rounds with aspirin. I don't worry too much about Hieron's cardio. His chin, though, 3 of his losses are by KO or TKO. Otherwise, though, it's a good matchup. I can see Hieron actually winning. It's his comeback to the UFC. He's always been a solid fighter. But I got to go with Ellenberger here. Heavier hands. I think just as good of wrestling. Weaker cardio, though, so I'm very worried about that.
Why don't you recap for us, what transpired during their first confrontation?
I don't remember. I don't.
You just know that Hieron won?
Yeah.
By decision?
I think so. I'd have to do the research and find out.
All right.
But, yeah. I think it was by decision. Back in the IFL. One thing that's interesting about the IFL, if I'm not mistaken, they fought in a ring instead of a cage. And that was a couple of years back, too. So we'll see.
Lots changed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next fight after that, we have some flyweights. As Ultimate Fighter winner, John the Magician Dodson fights UFC newcomer, Jussier Formiga. I got Dodson, man. He trains at Jackson's. Kid's really quick. When he gets taken down, he gets right back up. And he has some solid kickboxing. This is a guy that was knocking out bantamweights. I've got his name now, but he is knocking out bantamweights, and even though he's a natural featherweight, quick guy too. What about you, man? What do you think?
I'm gonna have to play the devil's advocate on this one.
Oh, really?
Really? I'm going with Jussier Formiga. My boy, he looks like I think he's on a 5-fight win streak right now. So hopefully the streak continues. I don't know. He's only got this is his first fight in the UFC, huh?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
I did not know that, but I'm still going with him. And his only loss is to Ian McCall. So,
Uncle Creepy. That's it, man.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad record.
Yeah, I always like guys who trains at Nova União. I mean, you know who else trains at Nova União, right?
I don't. Why don't you
Jose Aldo, bro.
That's my boy.
Yeah, your boy Jose Aldo trains at Nova União. So does Formiga. So you can expect from Nova União guys, really strong, generally
really fast, really.
Well,
kind of like Jose, no.
Kind of like Jose, strong takedown defense. Good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if not great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and strong Muay Thai. Those are like fundamentals in Nova União that you see with a lot of their fighters. But you know what? I gotta go with Dodson, but Formiga, interesting challenge. None of Formiga's wins are by KO or TKO. That's really interesting, but he does have 7 subs.
Ooh.
So he could definitely be a ground threat to Dodson if he can get it there and keep it there.
Typically I don't like going with the newcomer, or this is his first fight in the UFC, but I have a good feeling about this kid, and hopefully he doesn't let me down.
Cool. Okay, next right after that we got Josh the Dentist Neer versus Justin Edwards.
Ooh.
Who do you got, man?
I got Justin Edwards, and it's not because I don't like going to the dentist. It's because he's got aggressive stand-up, and despite being on a 2-fight losing streak, I think he's gonna be able to use his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and pull out this victory.
I got Josh Neer to win this one, man.
Is that right?
I think he's gonna make Justin Edwards go to the dentist. Yeah.
Dude, I loathe going to the dentist.
Yep. Well, I think that Neer is gonna have he has good kickboxing in his own right. He did get knocked out in his last fight against Mike Quicksand Pyle, but Neer also has a really underrated grappling game. You know, that's the thing. He has a lot of fights. Actually, it's he actually has a 33-11-1 record. If I'm not mistaken. I think it's 33. He has a lot of fights, and he's now training with the Cesar Gracie guys. So, yeah, you know, he's been around the block, man. He's fought some of the toughest guys. Underrated grappling, good kickboxing. Despite getting knocked out in his last fight, he does have a good chin. I don't know if it's getting breaking as of late, but we'll see. I got Neer for this one.
I got Edwards.
Okay, next fight after that, another Edwards as the master of Thug Jitsu. Eve Edwards fights Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens. I got the master of Thug Jitsu here, man.
Oh man, I got the
Lil Heathen. Yep.
All right, I got Jeremy Stevens on this one.
Oh really? Both?
I do.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting about this fight, going back to the theme here. Very similar stylistic matchup here. Mainly stand-up fighters with underrated grappling abilities. You know, Eve Edwards, I think, is the more technical fighter, has a little more experience, and trains at American Top Team. I'm gonna go with him for the win.
How old is your pick?
36.
He's got quite a few fights under his belt.
He does, man. That experience is a great teacher, man.
Yeah, it also means that you're old, but you know. I'm gonna go with Stevens with the heavy hands. Mm-hmm.
How young is this guy?
You know what? I have no idea. But his grappling has been improving quite steadily, and I think that might be the difference in this fight.
Let's see how old the guy is. Okay, well he's 26.
Yeah. Okay.
And
he has 36, right? A decade is like a long time in MMA.
Yeah, I know, but
That's all right.
I gotta go with the master of Thug Jitsu here, man.
You do that.
Well, that next fight after that, Danny Castillo fights Michael Johnson.
Ooh.
Yeah, same. Once again, same theme here. Strong wrestlers here with improving stand-up for both of these guys. I gotta go with Michael Johnson. He's what I call a dark horse prospect in the division, and he's been finding his groove. He just beat Tony Ferguson in his last fight, showing an improved kicking game. Actually, trains with the Black Zillions with like Rashad Evans, Overeem, 2-fight win streak, good wrestling, and improving kickboxing. How about you, my man?
You know what? I'm going to go with Danny Castillo on this one.
Oh, last call Castillo, huh?
That's correct. You know, his fights lately have been a little bit, you know, you could say boring, slow.
Yeah, at least he gets a win, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's important, right? Ultimately. But, you know, I think his decent stand-up and his strong wrestling is going to be a little too much for your dark horse prospect. So I'm going with Danny Castillo on this one.
Well, you're gonna go with the guy who trains at Team Alpha Male versus the Alpha Male versus the Black Zillion. We'll see how that goes, man. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we will. We will see how it goes.
Okay, next fight after that, we have Superman Dennis Hallman versus Thiago Tavares. This one once again, it's kind of a similar stylistic matchup. Guys with strong grappling, but with improving stand up. I'm gonna go with Tavares here. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His stand up has been looking pretty good as of late. Decent wrestling. This one's a really tough pick. I'm going back and forth with this one. What about you, my man?
This is a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going with Thiago Tavares.
Oh, Tavares too, huh?
I don't know why. I don't know what's so difficult. I don't know. I see him ending this fight.
Wow.
I don't see it going
ending early, man.
Ending it early, calling it on the show.
Wow. Dennis Hallman has a 51-14 two draws and 1 no contest record, man. He has a lot of fights, man.
Tavares is actually more than a 2-1 favorite on this one, according to Vegas. So
really?
Vegas seems to agree with us.
Yeah, wow. Well, Hallman is big for his weight class. He used to fight at welterweight. Interesting stat with Hallman is that he's beaten Matt Hughes multiple times. Actually, I believe he submitted Matt Hughes multiple times. So he does have a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, but so does Tavares. I gotta go with my man Tavares as well to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Shane Roller versus Jacob Christmas Volkman. This one's hard for me to call. 2 wrestlers that are primarily wrestlers, with good ground games. Decent stand-up for both these guys. I think Roller hits a little harder. Volkman kind of has this awkward footwork, to be honest with you. Who do you got, man?
You know what? Yeah. I'm going to switch my pick on this one.
Who are you going with?
I'm going with Jacob Volkman.
Oh, Christmas, man. That guy hates Obama.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I think because his...
Is he a conservative or something? Or?
I think so. There's something with his political affiliation that's really against Obama.
He's not a racist, right?
No, he's not a racist.
Because if he is, I'm going to switch my pick.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, despite his political views, I think his MMA skills are notable. He's got, he's got relentless takedowns.
Oh, man, he just keeps going for him.
His top control is second to none.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets on the ground and when he's taking his opponents down, I think that's when he's at his best, and hopefully that strength in his game will show when he fights Shane.
Right. Both these guys are pretty highly decorated wrestlers. Shane Roller, he's a team takedown guy. Very strong wrestling. He just beat Alessio Sakara in his last fight. One thing that I noticed in the last fight that I really liked is when he took him down, really good back control, man. Especially from the ride position. The thing is, I don't know who can take down who in this fight. They're both just such strong wrestlers. So I don't know how that's going to work out. Both these guys have some pretty good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu chops as well. Roller, like I said, I think he hits harder than Volkman. So I'm going to go with Roller in this one to beat Christmas. Roll over Christmas, man. Yep.
Okay. That's not funny.
Right. Okay. So next fight after that, we have Diego Nunez. Diego the Gun Nunez versus Bartomis Palashetsky. I got Diego Nunez, man. Trains at Black House, uses a lot of kicks, moves around a lot, good takedown defense, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think he also trains at Nobu União. I'm not too sure, because I'm pretty sure he's a training partner of Jussier, if I'm not mistaken.
Diego Nunez?
Yes.
Cool.
Who you got, man?
I got Diego Nunez.
Oh, Nunez. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Any friend of Jose Aldo is a friend of mine. So, yeah.
It's going to be interesting because I think this fight will probably take place primarily in the stand-up. Palashetsky shown, especially in like the Tyson Griffin fight, some heavy hands and kind of a brawler mentality. He has a lot of experience though with the 36-15 record. But Diego Nunez, like I said, he uses a lot of movements, lots of kicks. His hands are good too, but he uses a lot of different kicks and stuff like that, and lots of movement. So I think he's gonna win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we got some flyweights as Billy Harris fights Darren Uyenoyama. I'm picking Uyenoyama only because he beat Kid Yamamoto at 135 in his last fight.
Oh, he beat Kid, huh?
Yeah. He actually out wrestled him too. One of my biggest concerns with Darren here, though, is he last fought in November 2011. It's going to be a year layoff for him. Phil, it's his first fight in the UFC. I don't know enough about him to really confidently pick him. That's why I'm not picking him. Who do you got, my man?
I am going with Phil Harris.
Oh, really? Phil Harris. Yeah.
Let's see. He's on a 5-fight win streak. You know, even though it's his first fight in the UFC, you know, I think he's got a lot of fights under his belt, and it shouldn't heavily discount, you know, against him.
Yeah. Interesting that he has 31 fights, whereas Uyeno only has 10 fights.
Exactly, but those were all at strikeouts. What?
I'm not too. No, I think he fought mainly overseas. To be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's an English fighter. I'm not.
He might even have more Japanese fights than Darren Uyeno.
Yeah, I'd have to check the stat. I'm not 100% sure. I think he's an English fighter, if I'm not mistaken.
He's English.
Yeah. So
Phil Harris.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Next fight after that, these ones, are gonna be. We're gonna have Marcus Lavasher versus Carlo Neo Prater. You know, this one was hard for me to call, but you know, I'm gonna go with Prater. You know, he's kind of tall and lanky, and he does have a really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, as 16 of his 30 wins are by submission. He has a really good front choke arsenal, and I saw him, like, he likes some darts chokes here and there and whatnot. Who do you got, my man?
I'm gonna go with Carlo Prater on this one.
Yeah, Prater as well, huh?
Oh, you going with Prater?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I'm going with.
Okay. One thing about Marcus is that he did, he fought Cody McKenzie in his last fight, and he took him down and was beating him up in the stand-up. But the thing is, he pretty much put his neck out to get guillotined. I mean, I gotta wonder about this guy's fight IQ if you're giving guys guillotines, you know? All of his losses are by finish. He has 21-6 record, 3 losses by KO or TKO, 3 losses by sub. That's kind of why I'm picking against Marcus here, you know. I gotta question his fight IQ, especially considering his last fight, giving Cody McKenzie a guillotine pretty much. Okay, and finally, got some wrestlers here who like to clinch, as Mike Pierce fights Aaron the A-Train Simpson. Okay, I got Pierce here.
Ooh,
these are like the same fighters. Lots of clinching, lots of dirty boxing, kind of boring fights. You know, wrestlers with kind of heavy hands. Who do you got?
I got Aaron Simpson.
The A-Train, huh?
A-Train. Strong wrestling. Stand-up has improved, you know, quite significantly, and you know, he's good in the clinch, and you know, despite having very similar styles, you know, I think he can take out Pierce.
Yeah, be very interesting, especially the clinch game, because both these guys really thrive in the clinch. So this is it's an interesting matchup in that sense. I don't think it'll be the most aesthetically pleasing matchup, but nonetheless, you know, it's an interesting matchup. Okay, do you want to recap, man? Should we?
The picks?
Yeah.
We could do it. It's your show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with Travis Browne versus Antonio Silva, I got Travis Browne. Who you got?
You know, I'm just going with Bigfoot because I like the guy. I think. I mean, it's gonna be tough for him to beat him, but I'm still going with my boy.
Bigfoot.
It's I guess loyalty is probably not such a good quality to have in making picks, but you know,
I do it all the time. So okay, Jake Ellenberger versus Jay Hieron. Got Ellenberger. What about you?
Got Ellenberger.
Okay, Dodson versus Formiga. I got Dodson.
I got Formiga.
Okay, Neer versus Edwards. I got Neer.
I got Edwards.
You got Edwards. Okay. I got the next fights. The Master of Thug Jitsu, Eve Edwards versus Jeremy Low-Heelan Stevens. I got Eve Edwards. What about you, man?
I got Stevens.
Okay. Next fight after that, Danny Castillo versus Michael Johnson. I got Michael Johnson.
I got Danny Castillo.
Okay. Next fight after that, Dennis Hallman versus Thiago Tavares. I got Tavares.
I got Tavares also.
Okay. So after that, Shane Roller versus Jacob Volkman. I got Roller.
I got Roller.
Didn't you have Christmas?
Did I go with Volkman on this one?
I thought you went with.
I do got Volkman. I apologize.
You Volkmanized me because he has this thing called Volkmanizing.
Oh, that's
thing.
ridiculous.
You Volkmanized me. Why did you do that? Jeez. Okay. Diego Nunes fights Bart Palashetsky. I got Diego Nunes.
I got Diego Nunes.
Okay. Phil Billy Harris fights Darren Uyenoyama. I got Uyenoyama.
I got Phil Harris.
Okay. Marcus Levisher fights Carlo Prater. I got Carlo Prater.
I got Marcus Levisher.
I thought you had. Didn't you have?
Did I go? There I go, Volkmanizing.
How do you keep Volkmanizing the pigs?
Is that a verb?
Yeah, it is, man. Okay.
I got Carlo Prater for the record.
And Mike Pierce fights the A-Train Aaron Simpson. I got Mike Pierce.
I got the A-Train Aaron Simpson.
Cool. And that's pretty much it for our predictions for UFC on FX5, Browne versus Bigfoot. If you have any comments, just leave them below. You got anything left to say, my man?
Not a whole lot. I'm actually looking forward to UFC 153. To be honest with you, but you know, this will whet my appetite a little bit, and it'll be fun to watch.
Cool.
You know? But yeah, it should be good fights, and I don't know. I hope Bigfoot
pull
something out of his hat, and
It's a big hat, my man.
Yeah,
a big hat.
Big foot, big hat, big head.
Yep.
He's just a big guy.
Yep, exactly.
So
that's pretty much it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.